Excited about doing a math video with you today. We're going to continue talking about word problem types, and today's problem types are called multiplicative comparison problems. I know that's a mouthful, but if you listen carefully to what I'm going to tell you, it's not as bad as it seems, okay? So have you ever heard somebody say, she ran that race 5 times faster than me, or he ate 10 times as much pizza as me, or let's see, she lives 2 times closer to the grocery store than me? That's what multiplicative comparison problems are, is when you throw in that piece that says 5 times as more, or 10 times as more, or 2 times as more, for example. So that's what we're going to work on. I'm going to switch over to my document camera and we'll get started. Okay, so just like I said, multiplicative comparison problems, and it's when you multiply by that times as many more. And we're going to do this today using the same thing that we've used before, the same kind of the same pattern, and start with the result as being the unknown, the answer being the unknown. So I'm going to write that word because that's always just a good synonym to keep us focused. If you see right here in this example that I'm doing this operation, which is multiplication, you can always use this word, product. The product is unknown. Okay, so let's read the context of the problem and then come back up here to this example and let's figure it out. So Terry read 10 pages of her book. John read 4 times as many pages as Terry read. How many pages did John read? Well, there's my question that I'm going to turn into a statement. John read this many pages. And I know if I can fill in this sentence, then I know I've answered my question. So, what is part 1 of this problem? Terry read 10 pages. That's the part 1. So I can see Terry maybe snuggled up on her couch, reading 10 pages of her book. Okay? And then John, he's really interested in his book, so he read 4 times as many. So that's when you multiply by as many times more than this first part. And that lets us know how many pages John read. So let's come down here and write this problem. Terry read 10 pages times as many times more, multiplied by as many times more. Well, John was 4 times more than Terry. So how many pages did John read? 10 times 4 is 40. John read 40 pages in his book. And remember, I've told you this when we went through some other problem types. It is a strategy to really learn the problem type by using the smaller numbers. You can plug in larger numbers later, but learning the context in the problem type, sometimes it's easier with the smaller math numbers. So that's what we're sticking with today. So part 1 of this problem was the 10 pages Terry read, times or multiplied by as many times more, which was 4. John read 4 times more, or 4 times as many pages as Terry. So how many pages did John read? John read 40 pages. All right, nice job with the first one. There are 2 more types of multiplicative comparison problems. The second one is the start number is unknown. That's what we have to find. So we take the total that we're given. Look at what operation we're using. We're using division, but remember, multiplication and division are inverse operations. So if we know one, we can use the other. So we're going to divide that by as many times more, and then that will give us our start number. Now, for these 3 problems on multiplicative comparison, I am using the same 3 numbers over and over so we can really focus on the context of what's happening in the problem. So let's look. John read 40 pages in his book. He read 4 times as many pages as Terry. How many pages did Terry read? Well, here's my question. And I'm going to write Terry read blank pages. That keeps me focused on my question. So let's start with what we have here, the total. John read 40 pages, right? What else does it say? We're going to take that amount and we're going to divide it by as many times more. So he read 4 times as many pages as Terry. So we're going to take that 40 and what are we going to divide it by? The 4 times more he read than Terry. Will this let me know how many pages Terry read? Well, let's see. That total is 40. We're going to divide it by 4, and that leaves 10. And that was my start number. Remember from the first problem we did, and the reason I left the numbers the same, look at the start number. Terry read 10 pages. So we're working this out and getting our same numbers. Remember, we talked about the inverse relations. So I can bring this right back to the first problem, the 10 pages that Terry read. John read 4 times more than Terry. It takes me to the 40. All right, let's look at the third type of multiplicative comparison problem. And this is where the factor is unknown. And the factor here means the how many times more, okay? The comparison between the two numbers. So that's when we take the larger amount, we divide it by the smaller amount, and then that's when we learn how many times more. I'll show you what I mean. We've got the same numbers in this problem. So John read 40 pages. Terry read 10 pages. How many times more pages did John read than Terry? So John read blank times more than Terry. So again, we have those same numbers and let's plug them into what we have here. John read 40 pages. That's my larger amount. We're going to divide it by what Terry read, which is the smaller amount. So 40 pages divided by 10, the smaller amount that Terry read. How many times more pages did John read? Well, 40 divided by 10 is 4. John read 4 times more than Terry. All right, everybody. So in the multiplicative comparison problems, remember, you're looking for 3 different things: the result unknown, the start unknown, or the factor, the comparison factor, the number that the two numbers that how your larger number and your smaller amount, what they're compared by, the comparison factor. You're looking for those 3 in this problem type. Hang in there, everybody. You're doing great. Read carefully, apply your math, think of your inverse operations, and you'll do great. I look forward to doing another math video with you really soon.